guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, we'll be covering the hot button topic of guys avoiding dating the single MOMs. And I'm going to be covering two different sources here. The first source is from a subscriber writing in, quick email, just confirming about what he hears in this channel and his own experience, both dating and being in relationships with them. And the second source is actually a Reddit post about a guy, really entertaining one, who is done, who's dated many of them, multiple chances, and has been a train wreck, and he is absolutely done, and he is getting the absolute wrath of Reddit. Obviously the gals and the single MOMs in there Reddit are coming after him, and it's pretty darn funny. Now, I get new people all the time, and some of you guys are probably asking, if you're new, what's the deal? What's the problem, with dating the single MOMs or being in relationships with them? Well, I could go on and on about that, and I have in the past, and this sources I'm going to go over do, but essentially it boils down to that absolutely, by and large, the single MOMs bring far more problems and headaches to a guy as opposed to gals that don't have any children. They bring problems on multiple fronts. And after being a single guy myself, and many of you guys sharing your stories, and doing this for 6 years, it's pretty much proven true, and a lot of you guys know that from your own experience. And again, I don't need to go into all the details, believe me, these sources will, but let's just say it's a headache and not worth it, okay? And this does not mean, and I got a disclaimer here because you never know who's listening and get this channel kicked off. It doesn't mean they're all that way, and I know a couple really good ones, but it doesn't mean that still there will be challenges and headaches for the guys. It's just not worth it. So it's better that they stick to guys that also have kids, and I still caution those guys to be careful too. But there are good ones out there, but by and large, they can really bring a lot of problems and headaches, and some are freaking crazy, and just simply guys don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to go through these two sources here. First one is the personal one, an email from a subscriber, and then the main thing, and you guys will find this amusing, and I think will back up a lot of what you guys have dealt with. So this first guy, the subscriber, says to me, "Hello, SSM. I want to give a big thank you to you for what you do. I just wish I found you in the community earlier in life, as it would save me years of frustration, money, and time." Well, man, you found me when you found me, and I'm sure it's helped, and welcome to the community. This won't be very long, as I know you're busy, but I just want to confirm what you've been saying about dating the single MOMs and being in a relationship with most single moms is quite accurate. While I will confirm that not all of them are as bad as I've heard from your stories, my own personal experience and countless stories from friends, there is enough that is true that warrants videos to warn guys. Okay, this guy has had his share of dating and relationships with them. I did give many a chance for a long time, as that was a big part of the dating market. Additionally, my sister is a single mom, one of the more genuine good ones. So because of her, I was willing to give many a chance, and it was a mistake. Now, instantly, I had to think, as many of you guys probably thought, like, oh, well, this guy's sister's one, so of course he's going to give her the benefit of the doubt here, but maybe she is a good one, and just who knows. And by the way, I got to say something here, guys. A lot are out there, a vast amount of the single market and the dating scene are single MOMs. A lot. If you look at 50 years ago, I'm sure that ratio wasn't anything close to what it is today. But there's also a big difference here when, I forgot to mention this in the beginning, and again, disclaimer here, it's a big difference if you have a woman that's single and she has a couple kids, and it's because, tragically her husband died in a horrible accident or a disease early in his life, or in the line of duty, he was a firefighter, or in the military, or a police officer, a dangerous job. That's different, as opposed to her getting involved with a guy who's a lowlife, and now that guy's in prison, or just a constant problem, and now you're the nice guy to come fix the problems. See what I mean? That's different, and shows her choice in guys. Or, like many, with decent guys, but just simply, whatever reason, he wasn't giving her the butterflies anymore. Who knows all the different reasons, we've heard them all, and ended with him, and of course, all guys are the devil. That type of stuff, guys don't need. I just had to mention that. He says here, well, listed below are some things I have experienced both in dating and relationships over the years that back what you talk about. So he's going to go in a list a bunch of things of why, obviously, he's now avoiding them and why many guys do. And so for you newcomers, here are some reasons. He says here, number one, almost all had negative things to say about their exes. The most common thing was that they were either, wait for it, abusive or narcissistic, or both. I would never anything about what they did to contribute to the relationship or marriage downfall. Yes, how many of you guys have been on dates where they, no matter what, they're trashing the ex? How many actually have positive things to say, or just say, you know what, we drifted apart, and he made his mistakes, I made mine? No, I've never heard that, ever. Okay, and I'm sure a lot of you guys, same situation. I mean, there's some girls out there that will come up with it, but usually, and always, I have a friend, one of my few female friends was visiting with her boyfriend, I don't know, 6 months ago, and somehow he stepped away to go to the bathroom and we're talking, and she mentioned an ex of hers from years ago that I was friendly with, and you know what she said? Oh, he was a narcissist. And I just started busting out laughing. Yeah, she knows what I'm doing, and she's like, oh, okay, SSM. See? And I'm like, what percentage out there are actually narcissists? Really? Google now, what is the percentage of people out there that are narcissists? And yet when you ask these gals about their exes, well, they're all narcissists. No. Number 2, almost all expected me to pay for dates and in the relationships. Resources. They are looking for a guy to help pay and finance their lifestyle and the kids. It happens. 3, they always had kids that came first, and I was expected to abide by that. I get that their kids are their top priority, but it's not my job or any other guy's job to make my life about their kids. Yes, I get if it's just them and the kid or kids, top priority, sure, but it doesn't mean they make their whole life about them and nobody else matters. That's ridiculous. And usually when they do that, the kid's a spoiled little brat. 4, many took pride in being independent, but still wanted me to pay for most dates, contribute financially if we're in a relationship, and also be her babysitter if she has something coming up. Yes, the guy to pay for things, but also be the babysitter. And oh yeah, we're strong and independent, but oh yeah, I can still use your money. Number 5, almost all would not let me correct or discipline their kids if they got out of line. That's a big one. Kids get out of control, they're disrespectful and all that, and especially if they're at your house or in your car and you can't correct them, I don't think so. When basically, again, the guy has no say. Who would deal with that situation? And a lot of them sometimes feel bad because the dad's out of the picture, so they'll let the kids get away with things because, oh, I feel bad. You're raising a little a-hole. No, never get in a situation where if you're doing this, that you have authority. Never going to work. 6, some had a-hole fathers who would make things difficult. Yes, a lot of times the dad is telling the kids you don't have to listen to him, or he's making trouble for her, or sometimes he's a big a-hole, but she's secretly attracted to him still, but couldn't be married to him, but still's into him. 7, almost all that society, in particular guys, owed them something. Yes, a lot of them do think the world revolves around them because they're single MOMs. 8, almost all thought that they were much more of a catch than they were. Yes, look, usually late 20s, 30s, you got a kid, a couple kids. Obviously, physically, it's not like it was prior to them. No, you're not the same catch that you might have been when you were younger and prime before that. But that's ridiculous. That's a lot of burden for guys to deal with. But that does not make you a catch because, no. Now, again, guys, I said not all are these extreme, and there are some that are into the situation not because anything they messed up, but because sadly and tragically their husbands, died early in an accident or disease or something like that. But I'm talking about the ones that, like I said, got involved with the wrong guy, and were attracted to the wrong guy, and you, the nice guy, the good guys, they expect you to fix everything. No thanks. Or they just have a history of just using guys, getting rid of them, and no matter what. I mean, hence the whole abusive thing, narcissist thing. You don't need to deal with that. And this guy's being honest here. He says, so after years of dating or being in relationships with many as single MOMs and dealing with many of the incorrectly stereotypical BS, I finally said no. To no surprise, I've gotten some pushback over this, not by my sister, but I don't care anymore. Life is too short for that BS. I've only dated women without kids and not divorced, and has been a vastly more pleasant experience. I'm happy to say that I eventually met a woman that I click with, not divorced or with kids, and we have been together for 3 years. Best of luck to all the guys out there, Sam. Well, Sam, I appreciate you writing this in, giving it your 2 cents on the thing and your experience and what you listed there. Perfect example of a bunch of things. Now I'm going to go on to this Reddit post. This is pretty funny here. When this guy, who also has given many of the single MOMs a chance, and finally this last date did it. And he's getting into his reasons why, and again, the whole brigade is after him for that. And the title of his post is, Am I the A-hole for not wanting to date the single MOMs? He says here, I'm 36, and I've been on again, off again the dating apps for many years. And every time I'm swiping, if I see somebody that's been there for a really long time, I don't swipe on them. Same thing with gals that seem to aggressively hate guys. Well, yeah, why would you want to connect with them? Or any girl that has anything referencing she has a type. It just screams red flags to me. A slightly newer addition to my not swiping list is the single MOMs. And there's nothing wrong with single moms. I know that it's very hard to raise kids. My mom and dad raised 6 of them, both their own and adopted like myself. But at least where I am, the dating apps are flooded with the single MOMs. And it makes me not even want to be on the apps at all. Well, the more guys that are on apps, the more they realize they don't want to be on apps. But here he said you're flooded with the single MOMs. Again, 50 years ago, in terms of the dating market, I'm sure it's vastly less. Now, some people would say, well, that's because obviously there was fewer divorces back then. And that is true. And then you'd have some of these feminists come on and say, well, that's because they stayed with these abusive guys. I'm sure there are some abusive ones they stayed with, but the point is the ease at which it is to get a divorce and how it's almost always one-sided. That's why you have it how things are today. Nobody actually, even if they had something good initially, would actually try to work on something. They just, boom, done, I'm out of here. Or many get involved and marry a guy they're just settling for and get the kids, get the resources, marry long enough to get the alimony and all that and take half, and boom, they're done. Time and time again, I've tried to give it a chance, but there's always chaos. Hear that? Chaos. Can they find a sitter? Can they make time to get face-to-face time with me for even 30 minutes to get a coffee and see if there's anything sparkling? And some of these girls have wasted weeks or months of my time trying to get a date going. That's not the only problem, though. They seem to just want texting buddies, and I feel like they should just have an AI app that allows them to have a texting buddy where they're not interfering with other people's lives. The biggest red flag about them is that apparently every single one of them dated a narcissist. Here we go again, right here. In other words, my ex, yep, he's a narcissist. What percentage of the population are narcissists? And if they all say they're all narcissists, then guess what? That's impossible mathematically. Which after the big Me Too movement, every time I hear anything like that, I'm highly suspectful. Hate me or not, but I do not believe all women. And I've met a lot of dads that have removed themselves from the situation. Some of them being old classmates of mine and people I've had a friendship with in the past and then drifted away and met me years later. And I would say all but one of these guys are extremely awesome dudes. Not a mean bone in their bodies, and they do well for themselves. Translation, all these guys he knows, and he's being genuine here, they're good guys. So obviously they're not narcissists. And yet the first thing they did, I told you about my friend earlier, a gal I've done for years. And, she has redeemable qualities, but she had to mention that ex, who was a bad boy type. I'll give her that. Yeah, he's a narcissist. It's like, come on. I seem to hear a lot of the same stories about how the women of the relationship made living with them unbearable. Everything from setting insane double standards, no accountability, cheating, bullying, physical abuse, child neglect, child abuse, drug problems, both over-the-counter and street drugs, and almost every single one of them has reported that they have an extreme drinking problem and receipts to match, as in videos, pictures, texts, and audio recordings. Knowing this, I've tried to give the single MOMs a chance. But as of the last month, I finally put my foot down. Well, it's about time. See, he admits multiple times, and this is what the Harpies in the comment section don't get. He's given many chances, and he keeps seeing the same thing over and over again. I try to give him a chance because it looks like she's doing the best she can. She travels almost 2 hours a day for work. She takes care of people for work. She's not in the best shape, but she said that she's trying to get better. But honestly, our date was horrendous. When it came to time to bring her back to my apartment so that she could get her car or come upstairs, I politely told her she should drive home safe. It took about 3 weeks to set up this date with her. When the day finally arrived, she arrived, and she was a lot heavier than her photos. Here we go. That's one of the very common thing with the dating apps. You see a pretty girl, and then you meet her up wherever you meet her, you pick her up, and it's like, holy shit. Looks like Jessica ate Jessica. And I'm not talking like 4 pounds. I'm talking like 40 pounds. And since I already warmed up the car and picked a place to eat, I decided to just go through with it because she's already driven an hour and 20 minutes to get my apartment. She drove an hour and 20 minutes to come see this guy, and an hour and 20 minutes back. That's a bit much. I'm thinking, shit, this chick is desperate. But then again, she's 40 pounds heavier than she showed in the picture. Say something. The restaurant that I chose ended up having an hour-long wait, so we decided to just go to the nearest place that had food. I didn't know that there would be some weird spin-off bar restaurant that only served gluten-free, vegan weird shit that had me in an instant state of regret. But before we even got to look at the menus, she got to the bar and promptly orders a drink, pounds half the drink before we even started talking. There's a sign. So I want to point out here, I always say first date, meet up for a drink, something extremely casual and inexpensive. You know, now he's doing the dinner thing and realizing this is not a chick I want to spend any time with. He can tell instantly first how she misrepresented herself, 40 pounds bigger than her picture, and other things. But someone could say, well, no one's going to drive an hour and 20 minutes for a cup of coffee. I agree. Therefore, stick to somebody that's not that far away. And then while looking over the menu, realizing that nothing there was very good to order. She already consumed the whole drink. This is about 2 minutes into sitting. She chugged the whole drink in 2 minutes. That ought to say something. Well, fast forward about 5 minutes of trying to justify anything on the menu, and I decided to look online for other places that are open that have food that I will eat. We decided on a place that's about 10 minutes out from the downtown area with less of a chance of being packed. We get there, and she instantly orders another drink. And by the way, I'm over 10 years sober, and she knows this. We start to have a basic chit-chat, but somehow it turns into her giving me sob stories about her ex and how crazy and abusive he was. Again, back to that. I asked her other things about herself, but she asked absolutely nothing about me. Now, we all know women love to talk, and goddamn, they will talk your ear off, and there's a point that just your ears... I think there's a reason why guys just, the older we get, we just don't want to hear talking because we hear enough of it. Imagine you lose your hearing and your hearing's going bad and you have the eardrums in there, not the eardrums, the whatever you would call it for the fucking ears, and just starts talking, just turn it down. The food finally arrives, and I think I had some wings and fries because I wasn't overly hungry, and also want a little bit budget-friendly because she has now ordered a handful of drinks, and I have a feeling that I'm going to have to pay for the whole meal, as well as having to cover the drink that she had in the first place. Again, this is a train wreck. Doesn't want to be with her. She's going to rack up a big bill. A simple first drink. This is why I tell you guys one drink. And again, if she complains, I got to drive an hour and 20 minutes for a coffee. Well, stick to somebody in your area here. At this point, she is at the stage where she keeps telling on the same short story over and over again while trying to shovel food into her mouth. I'm already repulsed by her, very much regretting ever setting up the date up in the first place. But sure enough, the bill comes, $112. I put my card up because when the bill comes, she doesn't even say anything about splitting the bill or how we're going to split up at the bare minimum. I cover the bill and she gives the tip. Smack! I could have smacked him before, but he's going through a tough time here. No, you can say, clearly this guy does never want to see her again. So at that point then, just like, hold the bill right in front of her. Say what you got to say. Which is really shitty, but still minorly acceptable. We get in the car, and there's more talking. But honestly, I blurred it all out because it was all about her and her life work, drama, and gossip. We finally pull into the driveway, and I'm completely over it. Under normal circumstances, if the girl had some drinks for dinner, I would suggest we watch a movie or play some board games or something for her to sober up, and then we can make the decision whether we want to get intimate or not. But any chance of that is completely out the window, so I bid her farewell and get on with my own night. Well, hallelujah. But again, you would have solved that whole problem. Frankly, the second she got there and she was 40 pounds bigger than she was in the dating app and the picture she showed, I would have been like, no thanks. You misrepresented yourself. But I drove an hour and 20 minutes. I don't care. Have a nice life. Now you can call me abusive and narcissistic. I don't think I ever blocked a number that fast. I blocked her number, I blocked and reported her on the dating app. I then added to my dating profile, not interested in dating single moms. Well, I don't quite get why he reported her on the dating app. The only thing I can see that's worth reporting her on the dating app is misrepresenting how she looked. But that's really it. I mean, it's funny, but still. I'm trying to be fair here. And then within a couple of days, I had at least 3 to 4 angry messages from single MOMs telling me that basically I'm not allowed to have preferences, such as wanting a girl who doesn't drink and who doesn't have kids and whose love language isn't bullying. I still have it on my profile. At least once a week, I get an angry message from a single MOM. But am I the a-hole for not wanting anything to do with single moms on dating apps anymore? No, dude, you're not the a-hole for that. You have every right to have the choice whether you want to date them or not. And obviously, you have really given a lot of chances out there. If he went on one date and then had a bad experience and then said, that's it, no more, I can see where people were like, well, dude, that was only one. Or he had countless people telling him things like that. But he's dated multiple ones and similar stories, always trashing their exes. Every guy that they go out with is the bad guy, abusive, narcissistic, whatever. Well, that's going to be you. They'll be saying the same thing. Never they're a problem, amongst many other things. She didn't live at all to want to pay for anything. She expected him to pay for it, Some girls may say, well, she drove an hour and 20 minutes, so he should pay. Well, she made the choice to do that. And I'm sure there's other things in there about her character that definitely turned him off, connecting with the single M1 thing. Now, there are a lot of things about her in the story that could just been any other gal that was single without kids that was just a pain in the ass. But it seems like this was the straw that broke the camel's back. So, guys, here's the point. Just like what he says here and what you've heard in countless videos, and also equally important what that guy wrote into me and his list of things you've heard a billion times. Frankly, if you're a guy that, you do want kids one day and you want marriage, a serious relationship, just stick to the ones that don't have kids. And you may say, well, such a massive percentage of the single gals out there be single moms. Well, just take your time, cast your net further. But look, you're going to have gals that, if you're in your 30s, for instance, you're going to have gals that are going to be in their 30s that have put off marriage because they're focusing on their career. I caution you to be careful on those because they can be very my way or the highway and everything. But those that are out there single and looking, don't have kids yet. That's an option. Again, case-by-case basis. And then how about girls in their 20s that don't have kids yet? I mean, yes, you have single moms in their 20s, but, there are options out there. Then you don't have to say that, well, there's no other options but the single moms. No, it's not true. Have the single dads that have kids, at least go with them. Now, a lot of guys are watching are single dads too. Like, I don't want to deal with that SSM. Well, it's a little more, appropriate on that level as opposed to guys that don't have kids, But it's just not worth it, okay? And they've dug their own grave on this whole thing. So I'm just reporting about what's happened. I've met my fair share. I've gone out with a fair share, and believe me, it's the same damn thing. Now, for the fun part, I'm going to read some comments. Some angry gals out there giving them shit, and I will retort on some of the things they have to say. One gal here says, you're the a-hole for putting it in your profile. Just don't match with single moms. You're also the a-hole for being a shitty date. I can imagine from her perspective. She drove over an hour to get to the date, and with some douche who couldn't even make a reservation, had no backup plan, and then couldn't make the best of the next place. Well, he should have made reservations. I'll give her that. That might drive many people to drink and then talk about whatever they feel like because they already know they don't want to see you again. Why should she offer to split and pay the bill when she's doing a long drive? Blah, 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 blah. Mighty presumptuous to assume that she'd want to be invited up, a red flag from you, inviting first dates up at all. Why on earth would you report this woman? Did she make you feel unsafe? Did she do bad things to you? What was her crime actually? What does any of this experience have to do with her being a single mom? Well, okay, I'll give her this. This lady's really pissed off here. I don't know why you reported her to the dating app, aside from misrepresenting how she looked physically. And, there was no crime or anything like that, but just this guy's been out with plenty of them, and she obviously is a single MOM, and he's not interested. She spent the whole time bitching about her exes and complaining, the whole abusive narcissist thing, which happens a lot. And what else here is she talking about? The assumption that she'd go up to his apartment and they'd get it on. Well, guess what? That happens a lot. Okay? Come on here. Or that why should she have to pay? Why shouldn't she have to pay part of it? What's the problem? This is the age of empowerment. But then again, that empowerment thing goes right out the door when it's time to split a bill or shovel some snow. Here's another one. This gal says, you're 36 and single. Majority of women your age are going to be single or divorced moms. Why at 36 are you referring to women as girls? You're throwing red flags as well. There's a reason you're 36 and single. Well, you know what? As a man, if he's 36 and single, a bachelor, never been married, that's a good thing. That's a badge of honor nowadays. And guess what? She said most are going to be single or divorced. Well, a lot are. And gee whiz, why is that? It's not his job. It's not society's job to cater to them. And again, like I said, you're going to have also gals in their 30s, because he's in his 30s, that simply haven't been married yet or have kids because they put it off because they want to pursue a certain career. Tread carefully on those, but the point is they're available. Or you can get gals that are younger, And her getting mad at him referring to women that age as girls, well, who cares? Because guess what? Women refer to grown-ass men as boys, too. Another one. The little slur about how, after the Me Too movement, everyone has a narc X and no OP doesn't believe women, along with calling grown women girls and all that other barf. And OP's response is, yeah, firmly the a-hole, but not for wanting to not date moms. Again, it's getting pissed off because you refer to them as girls. Who the hell cares? Another, what else is he talking about here? Oh, about the slur about the M2 movement. Guys, we all know a lot of the damage that came out of the M2 movement. I haven't done a video of that in a long time. Another one says, I have no idea why people think 30-minute coffee dates are enough time to see sparks that are there. It's literally just drinking coffee. Also, most women are not going to go on dates just to split a bill, especially at first date. They would just stay home. And if you're bringing women home on the first date, that also doesn't scream, I'm looking for a serious relationship. Most people drink to you, it seems anything more than sipping on one drink all night means they're alcoholics. You have a lot of complaints and criticism, mostly generalizations, but lack self-awareness yourself. I don't have kids, don't want them, but I'm at least aware not to brush all single fathers with the same brush. Well, this guy gave a lot of single moms a chance. He mentioned that, and after years of doing this, he's done. But her saying, oh, you think a 30-minute coffee date, like obviously what I say, it won't cut it, she says. Well, come on here. Let's be honest. Most women could size up a guy in under 30 seconds whether they want to sleep with him or not. So 30 minutes is more than enough time to sit across the table with somebody, have a coffee, and really decide whether you want to keep seeing him or not. 30 minutes, well, you can size up somebody whether you want to be friends with them or do a business deal with them. And what else is she complaining about? Oh, and about how most women aren't going to want to go on first dates if they have to split the bill. Again, what about the age of empowerment? Come on here. Again, all about empowerment until it's time to shovel snow or split the bills. Yes, they can split the bill. Or maybe she can pay. Another one. Now, here's the last one. This is actually from a sane woman who's actually standing up for this guy. There weren't many. She says, I really hate that some women on these dating apps give a really bad rep of just using guys. I know it happens with girls too, but I really do feel for you guys because what the fuck? These people who just use the date for free food is ridiculous. See? Thank you. When I went on dates, I'd offer to buy the meal, just so I could order whatever and also not make the male feel justified to buy. I would have ended the day after the first place, to be honest. Personally, I think it's rude to order alcohol unless it's offered, especially because you're sober. So to me, that's disrespectful. Like she could have been considerate and either not get drunk or at least ask. It's okay to be picky. It's not shallow, hurtful, or rude. It's your life and more than likely looking for a forever partner. You don't want to be stuck with someone you don't click with or be happy with just because there's no option. There's plenty of options, just don't give up. You'll find the perfect match. I'm sorry you had to go through this awful experience, though. I can promise she doesn't speak for all women. I hope you can find somebody. Thank you. There's a gal defending him. And how he said, I forgot to mention how, right on the dating app, don't date the single moms or no single moms or something like that. And these gals are getting all bent out of shape over that. You're not telling me, guys, and I've seen this, and I know you've seen that you go on dating apps, and right at the top in capital letters, they'll have things like, no guys that do this, no guys that do that. But when a guy has standards and says, nope, I'm drawing the line to certain things, certain boundaries, we're the devil. Anyhow, guys, there you go. So for all you guys that are new, all you guys that are young, that are dating, or maybe you're divorced and you're back in the thing, be aware, if you haven't heard already, there's going to be, you get involved with the single OMs, there's a much more greater probability of headaches and problems. It doesn't mean that they're all going to be train wrecks or anything like that, out to use you, or have their kid be a nightmare, or their ex-husband wants to beat you up, or all these other things. But still, there's going to be a higher probability, and just be aware of that. And you want a family with kids one day? Okay, look for a gal similar with you who is just herself also, doesn't have any baggage, no kids. End of freaking story. But this is what it is. I'm talking about real life here, and a lot of people don't like hearing the truth. The truth hurts, but it is what it is. And this is a men's channel. I'm here to help the guys out. And I'm sure my 4%ers out there, the 4% of women that like me and have been following me for years, they'll confirm some of this. I'm sure they know other acquaintances, friends even, that are single moms, and they're train wrecks. And I'm sure, and if you 4%ers are watching this, please chime in. We could use some support here because we're getting all the hate. But there you go, guys. And hopefully this will be useful and a little refresher, because I do this from time to time, making this point. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you find a good story you want to cover, or you got a personal story you want to share, send it my way, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.